covering some of the key highlights from Down to Earth 1st to 15 January 2021. The first is the Kataki village in Andhra Pradesh. Now here, a waterfall development committee has been made by three of the surrounding villages where funds have been collected, and to keep transparency, people from each village is being posted to collect the fund for 10 days period, and then they are shifted. So the fund that is being collected goes towards the medical and the educational bills of the villagers, which is providing a huge relief to the people. Recently, California has brought up an interesting clause where water has become a commodity in futures market, along with you have gold, oil. So water is now a commodity. So the story of crow comes true here. Now mortality rate in India has been declining, but malnutrition has been rising significantly. Children born between 2014 to 2019 have witnessed higher malnutrition levels as compared to the previous generations. Some of the states where very high proportions have been seen are Meghalaya, and also you have high prevalence in Bihar. Some of the states which have lowest proportions of stunting are Sikkim. Under 5 anemia is seen in all of the states except the state of Meghalaya. Even the affluent states like Goa, Kerala have seen rising cases of stunting in the recent period. So definitely malnutrition has become a big issue recently. Grasshoppers have now been brought about in a special category of the red list assessment of IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, where Titulus lobus trishla has been included as one of the species among the 1033 known species of grasshoppers in India. Now, grasshoppers will also understand in a while. They are being consumed as bugs or insects as a source of protein. The next is mastitis. Mastitis is one of the most common disease that affects 70% of the bovine animals, and it basically is seen due to unhygienic farm conditions. You have inflammation of the udder tissue that is seen, and that leads to even herd death, a group death, a mass death in the bovine animal. So mastitis is something that can be cured through antibiotic use. Some of the commonly used antibiotics for curing it is penicillin, streptomycin, gentamicin, ceftriaxone. Now, in order to check the antimicrobial resistance in bovine animals finally going into milk for human consumption, traditional methods have been boosted. So a paste of aloe vera, turmeric, mustard oil and lime has been suggested, which has been traditionally working very well, along with giving whole lemons to the cow. Similarly, jaggery along with mustard oil is considered another solution, along with curry leaves in case of extreme forms of mastitis if it develops. So those are some of the important aspects. Now there have been various tests that have been developed, and the antibiotics class that have been tested by each of the manufacturers, and the cost. Now this is something that has to be borne by the breeder or the farmer itself. The high yielding breeds usually suffer from higher proportions of mastitis that is seen, and that affects the count very badly in most of the bovine animals. The next is bugs. As we said, it is a source of protein, vitamin and minerals. A huge amount of protein diet has less carbon footprints as compared to other meat and poultry products. So bugs have been used tremendously in Northeast India. They are popular in 113 countries including Africa, China, Australia, Americas. Some of the commonly used bugs are grasshoppers, then you have snails, water bugs, crickets. Some of the tribes have unique traditions. For example, Mishing tribe in Assam and Arunachal Pradesh collects the red ants and prepares a chutney out of it. Similarly, Nagas of Manipur, Assam and Nagaland, they rear the soft pupa or the pupas of silkworm or the termites or the hornets, and these hornets when reared can grow up to 1,000 in a colony. So those are a source of protein diet. They have been important because they have less carbon footprint and they are ecologically more friendly, we could say. Farmers protest in India is on its peak. Now other nations where the similar situation has been seen is UK, where after after the Brexit deal, it is believed by 2024 the subsidies would be halved, and by 2028 the subsidies would be totally removed. This would reduce the farmers' income to 60 to 80%. New Zealand already removed the subsidies in 1984, which was followed by a huge series of protests, and every day in the world nearly 54 countries put up money to support the farmers, which is around $2 billion, which is a huge amount. Now India has been seeing a massive rise in the protest in line of the MSP and the contract farming issues, which is supposed to change the scenario of farming in India. Now European Union is one of the largest importers and exporters of agricultural food produce, which supports 19% of the population. China till 2004 was an importer, but since 2006 its policies changed and it started to support agriculture on a massive level, which brought about a huge land under cultivation, and higher subsidies on inputs were given. In India, we have a very high amount of direct benefit transfer to the farmers through the PM Kisan Yojana. New Zealand has also adopted a climate change response for Zero Carbon Amendment Act to make itself legally bound to the Paris Agreement, where we are trying to reach the global temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and this act aims to reduce all the greenhouse gases to net zero by 2050 in New Zealand. Now, worldwide, vaccination has become a major issue. Salk, who developed the polio vaccine that time, when in 1952 America was suffering from the pandemic of polio, Salk was one of the propounders who said that he does not want the vaccine to be patented, because he said sun was never patented. And indeed, we want someone like Salk in the present day scenario where patent issue is not on the rise. India South Africa dialogue in WTO is focusing on the issue of this patent as well. Now worldwide, if we see, you have 7.8 billion people, of which 2.2 billion adults are on a severe risk of infection. 3.7 billion are willing to have the vaccination, but to bring in herd immunity, we need to vaccinate 1 more billion to make it 4.7 billion. So that is the kind of quantity that we require. Now in India, in the first phase, we are planning to vaccinate 1 million healthcare workers. However, in all, we have 6 million healthcare workers. Of this 1 million, only 0.3 million are from the region of Punjab and Haryana, which brings in a huge disparity countrywide in terms of the healthcare workers being vaccinated. Similarly, 20 million frontline workers, which are military, paramilitary, and those in the frontline jobs, would be vaccinated. So those are the part of the vaccination schedule. A lot of auxiliary nurse midwives, ANMs, would be put on duty to help in the vaccination drive, where around 1.5 to 2.5 lakh people would be employed. Now next is the various kind of vaccinations that are into development and the basis. For example, Covishield is based on chimpanzee adenovirus platform. Covaxin is based on inactivated virus, which is a product of Bharat Biotech and ICEMA, and has applied for phase 3 trials. Now these are some of the vaccines and the basis for it. The Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine are based on mRNA technique. Now Pfizer is a unique kind of vaccine which requires extremely low temperatures of minus 75 degrees Celsius that could be sustainable through dry ice. The normal vaccinations are maintained at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. That is the common refrigeration temperatures that could be maintained. Now at our current capacity, if we are trying to deliver the vaccines, we can deliver 18 million vaccines a year, but what we require is to vaccinate nearly 800 million people. Now this is the population we are talking about, ignoring the pediatric ones, because the pediatric vaccine has not yet come. So this is the population that we are trying to vaccinate, and to vaccinate this much population, there is double the dose, so 2 doses given to each people. So this would require nearly 89 years, which is a huge period to vaccinate throughout the country. The next is compressed biogas. Now compressed biogas has been which is also called as CBG, is a good substitute for CNG. Both of them are important. They are based on compressed methane technology, but the basis is different. CNG is based as a byproduct of petroleum. CBG is a byproduct from biomass. Now the CBG calorific value, in terms of calorific value, both of them remain the same, and therefore CBG is considered as a good substitute for CNG products. By 2023, we are planning to have nearly 5,000 plants of CBG being established, and the biomanure that is being produced through the stubble production that is taking place in the regions of Punjab and Haryana, where stubble burning is a major issue. It is believed the biomanure could be generated, and this could increase the yield by 20% for the crops. So significant increase. Now talking about climate change in India, worldwide, we would say India's emissions are only 7.1%. Globally, we have 7 developed nations. Those are US, UK, or along with UK, we would say EU, the remaining 27 nations. You have Russia, Japan, China, and then, not China, Canada. We are talking about the developed nations, Canada and Australia. So these 7 developed nations that are there, together they account for 36% of the carbon dioxide emissions, as against the 15% of the global population that they hold. So a significantly higher proportion of climate change that is being seen because of these 7 nations that are there. Now China is set to go net zero by 2060, and India is at currently 7.1% of global emissions, trying to curb its sources for fossil fuel emissions and move towards renewable sources of energy. But if nothing is taken into account, the Paris Agreement would go into vain, and by 2100 we would have a current temperature of 3.2 degrees Celsius rise, which is much higher. In 2019, the greenhouse gas emissions was significantly higher, but in 2020 the proportions decreased because of the sudden lockdown. Nearly 2/3 of the global emissions that are there are linked to households. Now these would be related to mobility, these would be related to households, these would be related to food sector. A lot of food industries creating carbon footprint. Around 20% of the total emissions come from lifestyle emissions. With changing lifestyle, the emissions could be significantly reduced, and with the lockdown, we have seen reduction in the industrial activities and electricity generation, which has further reduced this. About SALC, we have already discussed when we talked about the vaccination plan. The next is an important development. The UN Decade for Ocean Sciences for Sustainable Development has talked about for 10 years from 2021 to be declared as a decade for ocean sciences. Now, why oceans are important? They absorb 25% of the carbon dioxide and are home to nearly 50% of the essential oxygen that is there. 80% of the biodiversity lies in the oceans, and therefore oceans are a significantly important source of sustainability. A digital atlas of oceans would be prepared for with ocean data, the kind of species that are present there, and the integrated multi-hazard system, which could be in the form of tsunami warning or forecasting systems that would be developed. The next is the Anthropocene age, which would follow the next 12,000 years of the Holocene age. Now this is the age where we consider people are the real wealth. It's not the trees, it's not the plant, but people are the real wealth. And the studies have shown that 50 to 100 days of extreme weather conditions would be seen and witnessed by the developing nations, which would be at a significant threat. However, the developed nations, on the other hand, would have reduced number of extreme events that would be seen, and therefore there would be a ever-growing divide that would be seen. Now, this report was published in the Next Frontier, Human Development and Anthropocene, which talks about humans' impact on the planet Earth. These were some of the key highlights that we have discussed about in this time's Down to Earth. As we said, the bugs, a source of high protein, reduced carbon footprints, along with mastitis, and then you have the grasshopper variety Trishula, which is very important from this fortnightly edition. We cover Down to Earth every fortnightly, Yojana and Kurukshetra on a monthly basis. So stay subscribed. We would be bringing many more interesting topics and questions for you. Have a wonderful day ahead.